Hey y'all, happy 2023. Welcome to all of my replay viewers. If you don't know me, I'm Shanta Prince and I work with women coaches and I help them to turn their gifts and expertise into a profitable coaching brand. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today, elevating your brand in 2023. So, every time the new year starts, I always say that it's a great time to reflect on the past, right? That's the only time, right? To reflect on the past and see what lessons you can draw out of that and then look forward to being better in the new year. So the new year is always a really exciting time for me, especially because the holiday season is my favorite time of the year. So Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of the goodness that goes into that, like eating a ton of sweets, which I'm just coming off of my my sugar fast, and I have cut down on sugar tremendously. And it hasn't been as hard as I thought it was going to be. So, I have my phases throughout the year where I do like detox or cleanses, and then I have my seasons where I just eat whatever I want, but then I get back on track. So I'm getting back on track from all of the goodness of the holiday season, and including all of the all the sugar that I've been eating. But this time is a time to really look at the past and see what kind of lessons you can draw and how you can apply those to make this current year so much better. So I get super excited because I believe that every minute, every hour, every single day, every week, every month, every year is God's way of giving us a fresh start. So we can wake up and say, you know what, yesterday didn't go the way that I wanted to, but today is going to be better. Or you know what, last year didn't go the way I wanted to, but this year is going to be better. But the way that you get better is by applying things and lining up your intentions and your actions, lining those things up together. I was just talking to my clients about this on Tuesday night about how important it is to make sure their intentions are lining up with their actions, right? We all have these things that we want to do. We all have things that we want to accomplish, but are your actions lining up with what you want to accomplish, with what your intentions are? So for example, if you want to write a book, are you setting aside time to get that book done? So there are a lot of things that go into business that we have to focus on. And sometimes I think that I see a lot of entrepreneurs getting caught up in focusing on the wrong things, and then it causes burnout and you get tired and you get frustrated. So I want to talk about three areas to focus on when elevating your brand this year. And now this is coming from my experience with growing my own businesses. I actually have three businesses now. I think some of us are serial entrepreneurs, and we just can't help but to start a new business. But so from experience from working with my clients and growing my own businesses, that the things that I've learned that really make a business successful, and how you can start implementing those things in your business starting today. So the thing is, there's a lot to be done, right? There's so much stuff that you have to do when it comes to your business, but there's certain things that you focus on that really can move the needle. It can make or break your business. So let me just give you an example. So when my mom would come, when my mom used to come visit, my mom is very particular about certain things. So so when my mom used to come visit us, I would make sure the corners of my house were clean and my baseboards were clean, right? I wanted the rest of the house to be clean, but I would give a special attention to those baseboards in those cracks, right? Because I know that my mom, the first thing she's gonna look at is she's gonna look at the in the corners, and she's gonna look at the baseboards. Because growing up, my mom would always say you could tell if a person's house is clean or not by looking in the corners. And so for me, I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, so my mom is coming, let me get these corners clean, let me get these baseboards clean, because she's going to think the house is not clean if it's not clean. And so I said all that to say, like, yes, there's a lot of things in the house that need to be clean, right? But if I don't want to hear, if I don't want my mom to be talking stuff, I need to make sure I hit these certain areas. So instead of, like, doing all the things, I'm like, okay, I know the first thing she's gonna look at when she comes in, she's gonna look at the corner, she's gonna look at the baseboards. So business is kind of like that, right? There are lots of things to be done, just like there are a lot of things in the house that I could have been focusing on and putting my energy to, but I put the attention on the most important things. So when it comes to growing a business, you focus on different things at different points in your business. So when you're just getting started, your focus is going to be different than the person who's been doing this for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And so, like, what I do with my clients is, if most of my clients are either they're brand new to having a coaching or mentorship business, or they want to get more sales. And so in that space, we focus mostly on organic, organic growth, finding clients, growing your email list without the use of paid advertisements, getting booked on other people's platforms and things like that. So they don't have to dish out that cash in order to grow their businesses, right? Because when you're just starting, a lot of times you may not have the capital to invest right away. Some people do, but I encourage my clients and teach them how to do it without running ads. Okay, so the other thing, the next phase is, maybe you want to put some money to ads and do things a little bit differently. But I just use that as an example to say that when you're in different places, your focus is going to be on different things when it comes to growing a business. I'm not doing the same things right now that I did in business when I first started. So I always encourage my clients, hey, okay, you won't have to do this forever, right? But the key is you get your momentum going, and then when you get to a certain place in your business, then you could do things a little bit differently, right? Usually, I'm not going to ever say that business gets easy, but I will tell you that when you're doing what you love, that is what really inspires you to keep going. It's some aspects of business are just hard and there's no way around it. But when you're having fun and when you really enjoy what you do, you will push through that so you can get to the things that you enjoy doing. So sometimes you got to do things, for a temporary time until you get to a certain place in your business. So there's so many things to focus on. And if you try to do all the things, you're going to be tired and your bank account will not reflect all the hard work you've been putting in. I know this from experience because I have a strong technical background. I love to do the behind the scenes. Not only do I have a strong technical background, I'm also an introvert. So doing the things like behind the scenes, like being at a computer, being at a computer by myself and not having to talk to people, I can just, do some coding and set up some funnels and stuff like that is my jam. But so when I first started, my focus was always on, like, okay, I got to get my website together. I got to do this. I got to do that. And so I was focusing on all the things that weren't making me any money. So let's say, for example, I'm working on my website, right? A website can take a very long time. So if I'm working on my website, let's say I do 5 hours and I'm working on building my website. Well, at the end of that 5 hours, did I make any money? No, I did not, right? And so let's say I get up the next day and I do another 5 hours on my website. Did I make any money? No, I did not. So at that point, if I'm just starting out and I'm putting all of my energy into building a website and I'm not making any money, guess what I'm doing? I'm getting tired because I'm doing this hard work. I'm building my website, but yet I'm not making any money. This is a big mistake that I see a lot of new entrepreneurs doing. They're focusing on the wrong things that don't make any money, and they're tired before they even get started because they're not seeing a return on the investment of their time. So this is why I encourage my clients, hey, let's work, let's make you some money first, and then we can do those other things, because you don't need a website to be able to make money, right? You don't need fancy graphics to be able to make money. There's a lot of things that we think we need to be doing, but we actually don't. Okay, there is a way. Listen, if you have an offer, you can make money right now. If you created an offer this afternoon, you could have your first client this evening, y'all. Like it really is that really is how it works if you're doing the right things. Okay, so when I'm talking about elevating your brand, I'm talking about where to put your focus on to take your brand to the next level. I'm not saying cut out everything or ignore everything, but what I'm saying is what is going to take your brand to the next level are these three things that we're going to talk about. Okay, so number one is putting your focus on quality content. Okay, content is the thing that can, let me just give you some examples of how you can leverage content. So the first thing is, when I'm talking to my clients about content, one of the things that I do is I do help my clients to create content ideas. I help them with content strategy when they're launching. I help them with the content for their programs. And if they want to do a webinar, or if they want to do a challenge or anything along those lines, I help them to map out the content for those things. I even help them with the content for their social media posts so that they can build authority as coaches and mentors and consultants. And so what content does for your business is, number one, it positions you as an expert. If you have content, then people will start to see you as an expert. So if you're brand new to coaching, or even if you're seasoned but you haven't been doing a lot of content, the content that you create it really it builds up the authority in your ideal client's mind. So they start to see you as an authority. Now, the thing to understand about building a brand is that your brand is what people think of you, right? And what you put out influences what people think about you. So if I'm looking to work with someone, the first thing I'm looking at is what content are they putting out? I'm looking at their content, I'm seeing, and that's usually the thing that draws me in. Content, when I see certain videos or certain articles or certain posts, those things draw me in because now I'm interested. I'm able to see what this person is like. I'm able to see what they stand for. I'm able to get an understanding and a grasp on their brand. So before I decide to work with someone, I'm checking them out. And the way that I'm doing that is by looking at their content. Okay. So what I see is most people, they just kind of content is like an afterthought, right? It's like, oh, I'll get to it when I can. But really, your content should be one of the main things that you focus on in business, because you guys, we're not in the same we're not in the same we're not in the same season as we were 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, right? We're in a time where content is consumed on a daily basis in large large amounts of time, right? People love content. That's why content creators, last year, I shared this statistic on one of my lives. I don't have my notes for that live that I did, but I will just say this. Content creators who they do content for a living, and that's how they make their money, they make a lot of money because people love content. People want to consume content. And content influences people to buy. This is why when you see someone and they say, well, I'm an influencer, they share content around the things that they buy, the things that helps make their lives better. And people buy it based on, their review. And so you can do the exact same thing, except you're talking about your own brand or your own business. And you're influencing people to buy, guess what? Your product and your programs based on the information that you're sharing, right? So your content really is what is going to be a primary thing that builds your brand. So one way that you can leverage your content is by nurturing your audience. And what I mean by nurturing is I mean connecting with your audience and providing them with some useful information. That information that's going to be useful to them is going to be something that's relevant and something that helps them in some way. So, for example, I had a client who reached out to me, and she's a client now, but she reached out to me, and she was asking about my service, and then she asked me, did I have any videos or anything that she could watch? And I'm like, yes, I got tons of stuff that you can watch. So I was able to send her to my YouTube channel. Now I'm not actively growing a YouTube channel, but I do stream on YouTube. So right now I'm live and I'm talking to some of you on Facebook and some of you I'm talking to on YouTube right now. So I was able to send her to my YouTube channel so that she can go and get a feel for my style, because I honestly believe, you guys, we're not for everybody, right? Some people are going to love your style. Some people are going to be like, oh, I can't work with this person. We're not for everybody, and that's okay. But some people are going to see you, hey lady. Some people are going to see your content and they're going to get excited about working with you. So the other way that you can use content is, and I talked about this with my clients. Your content can make somebody pick you to be on their show or on their podcast. Because when I pitch to podcasts, and I had prepared my clients for this as well. when you're pitching to be on someone's podcast or you're pitching to speak on someone's stage, most of the time they're going to ask you for your social media link. They're going to ask you for your social media handles. Why? Because they want to see your content. They want to see what kind of person you are. They want to get a feel for your brand. So your content not only builds the perception of your authority, but you can leverage your content to drive sales, right? Every expert should have some kind of content. So if you want to be seen as an expert, then the clues that point to you being positioned as an expert is your content. I should be able to go to your platform and see what type of posts you've been sharing, what type of videos you've been sharing, what type of information you've been giving out, and how you're inspiring your audience and serving your audience. So focusing on quality content, number one, is going to be a really powerful way to elevate your brand, right? Because content is everywhere. You've got to have a piece, right? You got to have a piece of that space where the content game is booming, you guys. Like so these days, I look at people's content before the website is not even first anymore. Like you used to go to a person's website or a restaurant website, and y'all know, like before I even go to a restaurant, I look at their Instagram because I want to see what kind of food, what this food is looking like. I want to see what people are saying on under those pictures and those videos. So I'm going to their social media pages and looking for the content before I even get to the website content, right? And so people when they're checking you out, they're looking at your content first, right? And then they're making a determination about you and your brand based on your content. If I go to a page and I don't see any posts, to me it looks like, okay, is are they still selling? Like, are they still, doing this, providing this service or selling this product? So make sure that one of your main focuses for this year is on producing quality content. I said this to my clients that you've got to see your brand as a media company, right? When you come from that perspective, okay, I am a media company. And when you're producing, you listen, you gotta put your producer head on it and produce that content, come up with some ideas, unless you have someone to help you with that. But if you just look around, you can find a lot of ideas and inspiration for content. As a matter of fact, my clients, I will be laying out some things to help my clients work on their visibility. And one of the things that we will be doing is a Reels workshop where we will actually go through how to actually create a reel, how to produce it, and then how to put it out there. And so that's pretty exciting, right? Because we're talking about like creating that content, which leads to visibility. So content helps you to elevate the perception of your authority. It helps to drive your sales, and it helps with increasing your visibility, right? And it's a doorway for you getting booked on stages, whether it's a virtual stage or whether it's a live in-person stage. People are going to check you out. Okay, so the next thing is focusing on number one, quality content, and the next thing to focus on for this year to elevate your brand is quality connections. Quality connections. And what I mean by that is connecting with people. When I say quality, I don't mean you. I mean, when I say quality, I mean people who are in alignment with where God is taking you. And so a quality person for me to connect with may be different from a quality person for you to connect with, because I want to connect with people based on where God is taking me. And quality connections can be number one, potential clients. They can be also potential collaborators. They can also be just people who just love you and they love your brand. I have a combination of all of those in my audience. And I also have friends too who actually invest in my programs. I know, like, I've seen people say things like, "Oh, friends don't support you," or family doesn't support you, and that has not been my experience. My friends, they'll pay for my programs. They invest. People that I know, people that have known me for years, they pay for my programs. So and that's been friends and family. So that has not been my experience. But I do understand when people say, okay, my friends and family don't support me, because that that's true in their reality. But for me, I have not that has not been my experience. So your connections can really, one connection can bring you 1,000, 100,000, an extra $1 million just from connecting with one person, because we are all in this together. We cannot build a business on our own, right? So the people who you connect with, you got to decide, okay, is this a potential client? Is this a potential collaborator? Or is this person going to be a fan, someone who celebrates my brand, someone who promotes me and encourages me and inspires me? Now, one of the things that I do, and I've said this before, that I in the messages, I talk to everybody. I'm not getting on calls with everybody because I don't have the time or the energy to be able to get on a call with everybody. But I'll talk to anybody in the messages, right? Because I that's a part of, I have time set aside just to connect with people in the messages. So I'll talk to anybody, but I'm not necessarily going to call with everybody. But I have built like some really solid relationships with people just from connecting with them in the messengers. Like I have people that I've been communicating with in the messages for years. And it's just a relationship. So guess what? If I go to them and I say, "Hey, so and so, I've got this event coming up. Do you mind inviting people, or do you mind, helping me with this?" And I always get a yes because of the connection. And a lot of these people, they're not potential clients or collaborators. They're just fans, people who support, fans of the brand. They support my brand. They support me, and anything that I ask them to help me with, they're ready to do that. But that's because of the connection. I also have made connections with people, and they have told me or introduced me to other people. Like, you know what, Shanta, I think you'll be a great fit for this person's podcast. Let me introduce you guys. And then they introduce us, and the next thing I know, I'm on somebody else's um, podcast. I've had connections who have brought me more clients, and the list is endless. But if you put focus on connecting with people, and connecting, put that effort. And the reason why I say focus on connecting with people who are in alignment with where God is taking you is because, listen, we're all human, and we all have a limited amount of time, right? Every day, we've got 24 hours in a day. And if you're putting your effort into connecting with everybody, you're going to be burned out. You're going to be drained. Especially for me, I'm an introvert. Like I cannot be putting too much focus on connecting with the wrong people, because like I just wouldn't make it, right? So I have to put my effort in connecting with people who are feeding into my vision, okay? Where God has taken me. And now let me tell you the difference. Now, when you are, I'm not saying, you can't, if you meet a friend, not to connect with that person, or anything like that. But I want you to understand the difference between someone who you are pouring into or mentoring, right? And because that's a connection as well. If you are mentoring someone, and they're not receptive to what you have to say, and you're working, if you're working harder than the person you're mentoring, that's probably a sign that that's not a good connection for you. Because if you're working harder than the person that you're mentoring, then you probably want it more than they do. And that's a sign that you probably need to revisit or renegotiate that relationship, because you want to focus on and I just wanted to give that other angle when we're talking about quality connections. When I talked about how that person is going to be a potential client, a potential collaborator, or a fan of your brand. But you're also going to have people, clients that you're pouring into, that you're connected to, that they can drain you if you allow them to. So that's another thing to consider as well when it comes to quality connections. I have I've been very close to firing a client before in the past. Not my clients now. My current clients are so bomb. But in the past, I really was very close to firing a client before, because I'm like, this person is draining my energy. And for me, the money is not as important to me as my energy and my mindset. So for me, if I'm dreading getting on with my clients, that's a red flag for me, right? That's a red flag that, okay, somewhere in here I've had some connections that are not quality. Right. Somewhere in here, something is going wrong, and I need to fix that. So I'm in a place right now where I really enjoy getting on with my clients. If I don't like see them, like when we take like a night off, I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss my clients. I can't wait until we meet again. So I happen to be in a good place, but I've been in that place before where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's already time to get on with my clients, and then I'm dreading it. Right. That goes back to the quality connection. So you want to look at building a network of people who can help you to elevate your net worth, you guys. And that's just real talk. When people say that your network can elevate your net worth, it is absolutely true. I am a living witness because the people who I've connected to over the last 2 years are far different from people that I've ever connected to. And because of the connections that I'm being very intentional about, it has elevated my net worth in so many different ways. So when I'm talking about like quality connections, you guys, social media is a very powerful tool for connecting with people. And when you're on social media, you got to have that mindset. How can you leverage social media to do what you got to do, right? To do what God is calling you to do. This is a tool to help us get to that next level. Social media is the only place where you can go and reach people from all over the world. You can reach people from all over the world just from logging into your social media account. So think about how you can steward that and leverage that to build quality connections this year so that you can elevate your brand. The other thing to focus on, so we talked about focusing on number one, quality content. And then the next thing that we talked about is focusing on quality connections so that you can elevate your brand and find the people who are looking for you. Okay, those quality connections can lead you to more money, more opportunity, and even more connections. Okay, so we talked about how there's a lot of things to focus on. Lots of things to focus on. But if you're focusing on these few things, right? Remember, there's things that are going to make you money, things that are not gonna make you money. Content leads to sales. Connections, listen, I said this so many times. Connections lead to conversations, conversations lead to clients. Right? So quality connections, quality content, and quality connections. And then the last thing to focus on is quality service. And what I mean by quality service is how you're showing up and serving your clients, how you're showing up and serving your audience. You guys, that makes a huge difference. I asked my clients the other day, I was like, hey, hey guys, how are you feeling about inside of the program, how are you feeling about meeting one night a week? Because we meet 4 times a month. We meet one night a week. Um Technically we're supposed to meet for an hour, but a lot of times we go over. But so I was, trying to get a feel for how they're doing and how they're feeling about things. And I'm like, hey, are y'all feeling like, one night a week is good enough? And I explained that like sometimes, depending on where you are in business, some people they love to learn, but they don't have all day to be sitting up in the webinar or learning, right? Some people are like, listen, I don't have 3 hours to sit on a class every week, right? If it's a special event, then yes, but I don't have 3 hours, every Thursday to sit on a training. So some people are just busy. They want to be able to get in, get that information, and get out, right? So I'm asking them like, how was it for you guys? And so they were like, well, yeah, it's enough because if we need help, we know we can reach you. And one of my clients is like, yeah, because I just reached out to you today and you were able to help me. You got back to me pretty quickly and you were able to help me solve my issue. And so that's just an idea or an example of quality service. I believe in serving my clients and giving them quality service. So if there's something that they need or something that I can provide for them, I'm absolutely going to do it. And I'm willing and able to deliver on that. And so quality service can mean a lot of different things for you, but you have to think about, okay, what can you do to elevate the level of your service, not only to your clients, but also to your audience, right? People worry about selling. They're always like, oh, I want to sell without being salesy. I hear this so much. I want to know how to sell without being salesy. Let me tell you, one of the secrets to selling is serving first. If your service is quality to your audience and to your clients, that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you when it comes to selling. Why? Because if you're serving your audience, they're going to see how you are through your service to your audience before they even become a client. If you're serving your clients well, then your clients will either bring people to you or help you promote your products and your services. And that's just real talk. And it's because, listen, we're not out here recommending things that didn't work for us, right? We talk about the things that work for us. We talk about the things that we believe in. And if you're putting in that quality service to serve your audience and serve your clients, it will pay you back, right? So I've had experiences with other, unfortunately, with other coaches, with other content creators and course creators that were just unpleasant. And so, if you I listen, I'm not the person to ask for a refund. Like I very rarely ask for a refund. That's not something that I do. If I buy something and let's say, like, so for me, I'm a sucker for some templates, right? If you got a good template, like, I'm a sucker for a template. And I also make a lot of templates and things for my clients as well. But if you got like something like that or something that's going to save me some time, like, I will drop some money on that thing so fast. And let's say I buy this, $27 template and then I download it and I'm like, oh, that's not quite what I thought it was. I'm not the person to go be like, well, this isn't what I thought. I want my $27 back. I'll just be like, oh, well, that was my, my decision. Oh, well, that's just, $27 that I just, I didn't make a good decision on that. So I don't really ask. I'm not the refund type of person. So I had an experience with one person, and I bought a course from her, and I couldn't understand how to. Well, first of all, it took me several days to actually get access to the course. And this time, you guys, y'all know how we are. Like, when we buy a course or something, we want it right away. Like, if I just spent $300 on this, or if I just spent $3,000 on this, I want access to it right now, or at least a start date. If it's a live program, at least, a start date. So I bought this course. I didn't get my link until a few days later, and then when I reached out to try to figure out how to log in, the person I was speaking to wasn't the actual person. It was like someone who was working for her. But guess what? People who work for you represent your brand too. And her response was just so dry and like unsupportive. And I was just, I was working really hard to get an answer, and the person didn't seem to want to help me, right? So at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna ask for what I paid into back, but I'm not paying another dime into this. And so that is an example of less than quality service. So quality service would have been an example of giving me quality service would have been, hey, we're so sorry, but we're not able to get you the link until this to access the course until this day. Because I found out that it was actually like the system that was doing that. We're not able to get you the link until this day. But in the meantime, we got this upgraded bonus or blah, 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 blah. You know how when you go, like when I go to if I go to get my to get my oil change or something like that. And I rarely do that. Most of the time, if I'm getting my oil change, I'm just hanging out with my husband because usually he does things like that. But when we go to get the oil change for my car, they have coffee, they have snacks and things like that, because that's them giving quality service. Like, while you wait, here, enjoy our lobby. Here's a TV. Here's some snacks and drinks like that, right? There's a way to do that the same way in our space, right? If you have a program, maybe it doesn't start till a specific day, but you got a client who paid early. How can you serve them? How can you give them quality service until that program starts, right? How can you welcome them and make them feel warm and like you're excited that they came to you? They could have invested with anybody else, but they've invested with you. How can you give them quality service? How can you show up and serve your audience on a regular basis and give them quality service? Okay. So these three areas of focus, I promise you, if you put some real effort into creating quality content, focusing on quality connections, and focusing on quality service this year, you will elevate your brand in ways that you can't even imagine, right? So even when it comes to content, right? This is something I just talked to my clients about you know scheduling a content day where they can actually plan and create content. Set time aside where you're That's just your time to create content. Why? Because content is an example of service. You're serving your audience. You're serving your ideal client. So if you're interested, I do have a product that can help you. If you're one of those people, you're like, listen, I need to get my content game on point. Um, Go to content2authority.com. You can download my content to authority, my content to authority system. It's basically a system where I walk you through how to create your next 90 days of authority building content. It is a low ticket product. It's just $17. So for $17, you can create your next 90 days of authority building content. Go to content2authority.com if you want to get the plan for creating your next 90 days of authority building content. In that system, I'll walk you through how to plan a content day. I'll walk you through how to map out your next 90 days of content. I even have a downloadable 90-day content planner and so much more. You guys, I'm telling you, for $17, you get a whole lot of stuff in the Content to Authority Accelerator. So go to content2authority.com if you're interested in mapping out some content for yourself. Okay. Other than that, if you have any questions, most of you guys know you can reach me on Facebook. Just send me a message on Facebook Messenger. If you're watching me from YouTube, just come on over to Facebook, or you can email me at info@shantaprince.com. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for your time. I know that, like I said, you could be anywhere else, but you are here with me and I'm spending time with me. So I thank you for your time, and I will see you guys back here next week at the same time in the same place. Have a great one, and I'll see you again soon.